So my personal favorite arc of all time is The Rumbling, and part of the reason is because there's so many biblical lessons that it teaches. Shout out to my boy Oak for recommending this, and if you'd like to see your favorite character or arc featured in a video, make sure to comment it down below. Now first off, there's a part that I think gets skipped over quite a bit with this arc, and I believe it happens between Nico and Gabi, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's when Gabi's talking about, like, there are no devils here. We were convinced that there was island devils, but there's just people. Like, what the heck is up with that? And somebody says there's a devil inside all of us. And that's basically like why the world is how it is. And that is one of the best ways to put sin that I have ever heard in my life. There's a devil in all of us. We see that through centuries upon centuries, basically blind racism leads this discrimination, and it's just this back and forth war. And it ends up being a bunch of people who think that they're right and the other side is devils. And in that pride, they don't recognize that there's a devil in them too. That's why they even feel this way in the first place. So before we go thinking, oh, I'm the best and I know everything, and that person over there is bad and they're bad and they're bad, remember that the way that there is a devil in them, there is flesh and sin and temptation within them. That resides in you as well. And when you leave that unchecked, then things like the rumbling become the only option for some people. And the whole act of the rumbling itself, well, I personally believe that it was, I'm not gonna say good because there's no right answer, and genocide obviously just objectively isn't good. I do believe that that was the best course of action to take to protect Eren Yeager's own people. And that of course brings up a lot of political questions about, nations and war and what's okay and what's not, and when there's no right option, what is valid. And I'm not gonna get political here, but just from a Christian standpoint, even though I think that it was, I wouldn't use good, but maybe justified in a sense, it is still impossible to watch those people get crushed and not want to just cry, bro. It is depressing. And it really is like the term, we all bleed the same, You can say this person's that and I don't like this person, but at the end of the day, like, it's impossible to watch people made in the image of God get crushed to death and not feel something about that. I don't think anything has ever made me feel more both politically extreme and sympathetic in my life than the rumbling. And ultimately, there's so much to be said about what Eren Yeager did. Was it out of love and sacrifice more, or was it like he said he wanted to do it and it was out of hatred more? It exposes that sometimes there's more than just one motive behind our actions. And there's many situations in this life you're gonna face where there's so many things going on that there's no right option. And I think it's very important to have a biblical grounding in life, because when you get to situations like this, where there's just no clear sunshine and rainbows answer, you have to be wise enough to still make decisions and choices that are good and holy, even if there's not necessarily a right choice. My go, Eren Yeager, the best, like, most deep written character of all time. There's so many things that went into that. You cannot view it as a black and white thing. Just let the rumbling not only teach you about politics and humanity, but also what happens to the world when the devil inside all of us controls us. And we fail to recognize that the person that we hate is still a person made in the image of God, and we need to humble ourselves.